Hey guys, what is going on? I have been hard at work rearranging my cards. I've got 4 server cases here ready to go. 3 of them are permanent builds, and one of them is going to be just a temporary build just for now. I'm going to throw it on Caspa, I think, and then get the cards to as low power as possible. Otherwise, I'll overload the power supply. So that one's just kind of like a temporary one, and then let's just talk about these 3 that I have ready to go, permanent solutions. So this one right here is a 7 by 3060. These are all Zotac Gamings and a 1 3060 Ti. These cards here, the only difference is that you can tell physically is this is a little bit more white label. The 3060 Ti is a little bit gray, and then just the sticker label, this one will say 8 gigs, and this will be 12 gigs of RAM. Other than that, they're pretty hard to tell the difference between them. So this particular rig is set up. I'm going to be running it on 120 volt power just because of where I need to put it. And it has one of these Bitmain, what's it called, a APW3++ power supply. Should be good for 120 and 240 volt. So this particular one's going to be running on 120. And over here, I have kind of a random assortment of cards as well. These 7 are also 3060s and 1 3060 Ti as well. I set them up like that just so there's less power draw on them so that they can run on 120. This one's also going to be running on 120. Big mix of cards here. It's got this massive, tough version, triple fan. It barely fits in this thing. If you look at this, this actually sticks out further than the fan there. It just barely fits in here. So it's got to go right on the end. Hopefully it's okay for cooling. There's a little bit of room on the top to pull air through it. Otherwise, this fan will still be able to suck it through here and the back plate. But where the fan is, that's kind of like that's jammed in there, not a lot of room. So hopefully it's okay. Then I got 3 MSIs here, 3 Zotac Gaming, and then that Zotac 3060 Ti. So that's a permanent rig. That one's good to go. So that gives us two good permanent setups there. This particular one right here is going to be running on 240 volt. It's got a little bit more power here. So these 3 are 3060 Ti's, and these 5 are all 3060s. So this will have, just in case I'm running the Kapow algorithm, these 3060 Ti's draw about, I don't know what it would be, 30 to 40 watts more. I'd have to look those up. Anyways, they draw a little bit more power than these. So this rig will be on 240 volt, and this is a permanent rig. I'm going to leave it just like that. Those are all XC models, the dual fan. Nice small cards. These are super easy to set up. I like them. They're just real small, easy pin placement, easy to deal with. They're good. And this guy right here is just a hodgepodge of random things. So this will be also run on 240 volts. And I need to actually plug it in now and see if it works. Hopefully it does. Sometimes these cases are a little bit finicky about where you leave empty spaces. I don't know if it was because I had a bad card in my other rig, but prior to this particular setup, I would have to have them all in a line, and I couldn't have like a middle card empty, or it just would crash all the time. But it had some bad cards in it, I think. So these cards all work really good, so hopefully I don't have any issues with that. This particular one has, so the way this case is set up, first of all, we'll get back to these cases up here. So these cases all have one power cable per card. All have the same power supply, everything. They're all those 1600 watt power supplies. This one's got 1 cable per card. This one too, 1 cable per card. This case is a little bigger. Power supply's in the middle. Same power supply, but it's in the middle. And this one has 2 power cables per card. Just to give you a little more versatility. So what I did here is I got a 3080 in here, which takes 3. So I put a little tiny This is an Asus Dual 3060. It only takes one power cable. So what I did is I took the extra one from this, shot it over to here, so I got 3 for that one. Same thing here, another 3080. So this one's going to be empty. I could throw another tiny card in there, but the only other little card I have is a 1660, but I need to see how much power this thing draws before I worry about sticking the card in there. So in the meantime, 3 power cables here and then 1 extra. This is a 3070 Ti. Does it say on there? It does not. This is a 3070 Ti, so with 2 power cables, another 3070 Ti with 2 power cables, and a 3080 with the 3 cables, and then another 3060 with 1, and then the extra cable here jumped up over to here to this one. So this particular rig I'm going to set up on Kaspa, and it's going to run right now because Kaspa is still profitable for me, and I'm just going to go for max efficiency here. These cards, I'm going to be tinkering with them quite a bit. I know I have a couple of other 3080s running. I'm able to get like 4.3 whatever it is, mega hash per watt or something like that. I think that's what it is. Yeah, 4.3 mega hash per watt. So they're just like wildly efficient. So I've never run a 3060 on there before, or a 3060 Ti. I tried very briefly, but the efficiency wasn't there. I didn't tinker with it for very long. So with this rig, I'm going to just tinker with it a lot more and just try to get those efficiencies up as high as possible. You know, get the power nice and low on this because it does only have that 1600 watt power supply. So these particular 3080s draw 200 watts, so those are pretty big. So we'll have to keep this thing nice and low and cool and take it slow on there. And that is what I have going on right now. You know, I wanted to build those CPU rigs, but this has been a bigger job than I thought it would be. So what I ended up doing here is I took all these cards out. So when these rigs still had cards in them, I dusted them all out with my air blower and did as much as I could. And then I took the cards apart. Took every single card out one by one out of all of these rigs and stacked them all up. And took them outside and blew them all out again individually. And the amount of dust in them was crazy. So even blowing them out in the case, you know, you got like clouds of dust coming out of there cleaning it. Even after doing that, by taking each card out individually, they were still full of dust. It's crazy. So I guess every now and then I have to do more than just take the lid off it and dust it out. Maybe every quarter or something like that, I'll actually take the cards out of each of these cases and do it like a full thorough cleaning, because they get dirty. Even with like filters as much as you can do, they still get dirty. Up here I've got this one card with it's got a water cooler here, but I'm going to be putting the 5900X, that's what it is, 5900X in there, and then I'll pull this, get that guy out of there and just make this a pure CPU rig. Maybe later today I'll do that, maybe not, I don't know, it's getting late. It's lots of stuff to do, always lots of stuff to do. Not everything I want planned gets done. And so these ones don't have a home right now. I've got this is a 2070 Super and another 2070 Super. And this one right here was really wobbly. The whole thing was turning, and I knew that was the thermal paste and everything in there would just be getting mashed because the card was like going back and forth like this. So I opened that up and repasted it. I got a big tube this time. I got the Arctic Silver 5, and this is a 10 gram, 12 grams in there. So this is a 12 gram Arctic Silver 5. This is a pretty big tube. The other tubes are about 2.5 grams. And this one I noticed is really thick. The other ones I had weren't as thick as this. This one's very thick. And I got my little spreader tool here. So it was pretty thick spreading that on. Got the alcohol, paper towel, got it all ready to go. And these ones here too. So these are my spare cards right now. I'm not sure what to do with. I've got 3 1660 Supers and then the 2 2070 Supers. So those don't have a home yet. I guess that's okay for now because coin prices are so ridiculously low. Most of my rigs are not even going to be run. I'm going to get the CPU rigs running, And then these big boy cards on Casbah, because they're really efficient, those will be running. And all these other ones I made here, these 3 permanent rigs, those will not be running. Those are just ready to go for when prices come back, for when coin payouts kind of increase, if they ever do. But in the meantime, these 3 are all going to be turned off. That's just all I got going on right now. Oh, and my space heater rig. I got that going and it works great. I'll have to show you that another day. It heats up the upstairs nicely. It was, I don't know, 6 degrees Celsius last night. Pretty cold. At night, I got that set up at, I think about 9 p.m. or so. I got it finished. And the house was, I think I got down to about 19 degrees in the house. It was pretty cold. And when we woke up in the morning, it was up to 23 in the house. So that one rig with a fan on it blowing heat into the house heated it up quite nicely. And it is on Raven right now. So, you know, a little more power algorithm on that one just to get a little bit more heat out of it. But I'm going to try tinkering with that. When the heat in the house is nice where I want it to be, I'll probably throw that on Casbah just to see if I can get profitable, depending on the efficiencies on that. But either way, that's kind of what I got going on for now. Maybe I'll show you the software side of this sometime. It's pretty cool how efficient I have some of those cards going. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube. Guys are happy to get, 4 mega hash per watt, and my cards are doing about 4.5 mega hash per watt. So not too bad. That's all I got for now. I will see you guys later.